We have a bit of a gloomy day, nevertheless I want to test out those two bad boys in terms of cameras. The brand new Find X7 Ultra by Oppo against the Vivo X100 Pro. So let's get started. Here you can see from the looks of it, it looks like both feature a quadruple camera setup, but actually only the Oppo Find X7 Ultra has 4 camera lenses with 50 megapixels there, where the Vivo only has 3. Very interesting because both have almost the same kind of design. As you can see here in terms of design language, huge camera bump there, and also the same kind of front facing camera, if it's focusing, front facing camera that is 32 megapixels on both. You can see the nice reflection now. So I think we start off with the front-facing cameras. The front-facing camera of Oppo. Some people told me on my first impressions video that it is a bit grainy because it was like indoors, so this is why. So how does it look now in the outside world? With a little bit more light going on, 0.8 time magnification. You can see I'm walking some stairs down there. Actually the ramp, not the stairs, so it's not so wobbly, hopefully. 4K 30 but also 4K 60 frames per second recording. Nice wide angle, but I can also go to 1 times zoom or even 2 times zoom if I want to shoot something, but 1 times I think is fine. So what do you think about this quality here on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra? And now the front-facing video of the Vivo X100 Pro, and as you can see here we have also quite wide kind of an angle of a video. We have 4K 30 frames per second recording, but also 4K 60 frames per second recording. The cool thing about Vivo is actually not Oppo, is we have the possibility to switch lenses, switch to the back-facing lenses. As you can see here, there's some kind of audio that I noticed, but it is usually recording the audio, just the video has some kind of delay. So what do you think about the Vivo X100 Pro's front-facing video? Main camera footage now with the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, the 1-inch type sensor, the brand new Lithium 900 sensor that we have here. We get nice streamy background bokeh, hopefully also stabilization is working fine, and the colors are also pretty nice. What do you think about this one here? During recording 4K 30 or even 4K 60, I can switch between all lenses. So let's go and go to the 0.6 time. I have to move my hand a little bit out because it's down there. The 0.6 time is also a pretty large sensor. It's not as large as it was on the Oppo Find X6 Pro, but this Find X7 Ultra has a little bit of a wider field of view. So what do you think about this one here? I think it's also pretty nice. And then we have the 2 periscope cameras. Let's go and try to zoom in on my favorite bitch there in the background. Let's go directly to 3 times zoom. Let's switch lenses to the 3 times periscope zoom, and I can go to 6 times. And if I want to zoom even further, I can go up to 18 times zoom. So what do you think about this? Now recording with the Vivo X100 Pro and its 1-inch type sensor, the older Sony IMX989. So what do you think about this one here? 4K 30 frames per second on the Vivo. I also can record and switch between all the lenses in 4K 30 or 4K 60 frames per second. So let's go to the ultra wide angle just by a click on the button here. It's smoothly zooming out as well. This one is a bit narrow, this ultra wide angle here, so it's not so ultra wide, but still, nevertheless, what do you think about the colors? What do you think about stabilization and so on? Let's try to zoom in on my favorite bridge. We only have 1 zoom lens here, but it's a 4.3 times zoom lens. So let's zoom in, and there we have 4.3 times, and we can go in even further, up to 10 times zoom it allows us to do here. So what do you think about the colors here, stabilization, and at least on the screen it looks a bit more stable than the Oppo. So what do you think about this one here? When we compare the front-facing videos, what we see is that the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is really a bit more noisier and also struggles a little bit with the stabilization. And a perfect shot here. As you can see here, it has some stabilization issues there where you can see some dancing there in the background. where the Vivo X100 Pro doesn't have this approach. It is a bit wider for sure, but it's also a bit softer, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra definitely suffers from what all autofocus cameras, front-facing cameras usually suffer from, which is like there's a little bit of wobbliness. But in general, it is more stable than the a little bit like less stable kind of X100 Pro. So stabilization on the X7 Ultra is a bit better there, and I think the front-facing autofocus is also a very good thing here. However, the feature to switch to the back-facing lens during recording 4K 30 is definitely something very useful on the X100 Pro. So here overall, I would say both are doing a very fine job, also in terms of the white balance, also in terms of colors and HDR. We get, however, a bit of better bokeh on the X100 Pro and a little bit of wider field of view on the X100 Pro as well. So both in the end, I think, on par when it comes to their feature set and video performance. When we take a look at the main camera video footage, we have a winner. The Oppo Find X7 Ultra's main camera sensor with the brand new Lydia sensor with its 1-inch type sensor is winning slightly. Better bokeh, look at the bokeh there. I think I like it a little bit better on the Find X7 Ultra. But also look at the face color and my hair color, much more natural looking, a little bit sharper, more uniform sharpness, where the Vivo X100 Pro has a bit of a weird contrasty look on my hair and also around my face, around my eyes, which I don't prefer so much. So here the winner is the X7 Ultra. When we go to the ultra wide angle, what we will see is, first of all, we have a lot wider angle on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Actually, it should be only 14 versus 15 millimeters. But what we will see here is that it's much more cropped in on the X100 Pro for some reason. Also a bit softer on the X100 Pro. Look at the sides there. Look at this here. Much softer. Also my face. And when I compare it with the Find X7 Ultra, it has the better sensor. It offers a little bit more sharpness here and details and clarity also on my face. So yeah, I think the X7 Ultra is winning here in this comparison against the X100 Pro. But yeah, you beat the judge. Also in terms of colors, much more natural colors on the Find X7 Ultra. Switching lenses, however, on the X7 Ultra for zoom, you will see it's a bit abrupt and not always the best. You can see here it's not very 100% smooth. And let's keep it at this frame here, maybe there, slightly there. You see that the stabilization has some issues on the longer zoom ranges on the Find X7 Ultra, where on the X100 Pro, let's check out the zooming there. You will see that we have a little bit of smoother kind of switch of the lenses here, especially the 4.3 times lenses. And then, of course, when I zoom in even further, this is now 10 times zoom, then of course it's just digital, so it's just cropping in. We have a little bit more zoom range on the Find X7 Ultra. In terms of details and noises, I think they're pretty much the same. You can read here the TÜV signs still, where here on the X100 Pro it's a bit further away, also a little bit more noise creeping in. So I think in the longer zoom ranges, the Find X7 Ultra has like an advantage there. Also, we see a bit of a difference in terms of colors, a bit more orangey, yellowish on the X100 Pro, where it's a bit wider, a bit brighter kind of yellow on the Find X7 Ultra. So here I think in general, when it comes to videos and the performance of the cameras, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra has a lead over the X1. With both offering very high-class 1-inch type sensors, I was expecting that the 2x crop on this 1-inch type sensor, especially on the newer one on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, would give us a little bit more detail and more dynamic range. But in reality, what we will see is that the Vivo X100 Pro's processing is better than Oppo Find X7 Ultra, so we get sharper results there for sure. You can see it here on the tree, but also when I take a look at the green grass and the trash can there, you can see that we have sharper details on the X100 Pro. It is not natural sharpness, it's a bit of artificial sharpening, but the algorithms are pretty good. Look how bad the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is doing here with this moire effect and also the color effect that we see here on the bench. Also in the background, you will see that there's already a little bit of noise creeping in on the X7 Ultra. 1-inch shots with the 23mm on both look pretty much the same in terms of colors of the sky, but you will notice that we have much more punchier colors on the X100 Pro when it comes to the green grass here. Though we have also a little bit more sharpening added again on the X100 Pro that gives us the impression that we have a sharper lens here. The Oppo Find X7 Ultra keeps it very real, very natural, I have to say. It is not too soft, I would say. You notice the difference in terms of sharpness only if you have them side by side. Otherwise, I prefer the more natural look usually on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. I can understand that some people that crop in want to have a bit more sharpness to play around with the Vivo X100 Pro. So keep in mind, you can always add sharpening on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, but you never can undo the sharpening that the Vivo X100 Pro bakes into its JPEGs. When we take a look at the ultra-wide angle, it becomes very evident that we have a very similar kind of approach in terms of the lenses and their sharpness. However, we have completely different contrast situations where the Vivo X100 Pro decided to eliminate all shadows and the Oppo Find X7 Ultra kept them in. Also, I think the Oppo Find X7 Ultra has a tad more sharpening and sharpness applied to its lens. You can clearly see it here in the wall. It appears to be a bit sharper, but also the text that has a little bit more sharpness to it, where the Vivo X100 Pro tries to optimize the text a little bit more. The Oppo Find X7 Ultra keeps the bold kind of font that we have here on this text, where the Vivo is slimming it down just in, trying to sharpen it up. Detail levels otherwise on the tower are pretty similar, and overall both feature the same kind of edge sharpness. That means we're getting very soft. What you will notice, however, is that we have 14mm, so 1mm wider on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra in contrast to the X100 Pro's 15mm. Both feature the same kind of high dynamic range there with the background sun. However, I think the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is controlling the blooming a little bit better than the X100 Pro. When it comes to zoom shots, it is quite interesting. Those two devices have a completely different approach. The Vivo X100 Pro with its 4.3 times zoom only, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra has two tele cameras, two zoom cameras, 3x and 6x. So here we are comparing 4.3 versus the 3x. What is quite interesting is that the color difference here with the reds give the Oppo Find X7 Ultra a bit more punchy kind of look with the reds. However, it is, I think, somewhere in between. So it's not as red as the Oppo Find X7 Ultra made it out to be, but it's also not that dullish, darkish red that the X100 Pro has here. So both failed there. What I find very interesting is that I don't see much of a difference in terms of quality and sharpness there. It's just like a slight sharpening around the edges of the text that can be seen there. When we go to 10 times zoom, it becomes more evident that the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is correcting its red color here for the emergency. Look at this, how it looks like here. And look at this, how it looks like here. So it's a little bit getting more towards the real red that was on the side. But the Vivo X100 Pro keeps it consistently, maybe slightly bit more magenta kind of tone there. When it comes to the detail levels, however, it's very interesting that we have two different approaches here. The Oppo Find X7 Ultra keeps noise in, doesn't do so much of processing, where the Vivo X100 Pro has excellent processing, so it is giving us very nice details here. Even the background of this reflective coating on the sign is visible, like the pattern that you can see on the white sign is visible on the X100 Pro. That is usually something that only true optical zooms can represent, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is like just rendering it out. So the processing at 10 times is definitely better on the Vivo X100 Pro. Detail level appears to be a bit tinier better on the X100 Pro. We have lots of noise and artifacts on the Find X7 Ultra there, but both are doing a splendid job at 10 times zoom. When we zoom in even further, this is now 20 times, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra's 6x zoom lens kicks in and shows a better result than the Vivo X100 Pro. Without zooming in, you will see already that it's a little bit of blooming all around the text and the items here on the side on the X100 Pro, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra keeps it more real. When I zoom in on the text, for example, you will see that there's a little bit of motion blur going on, where the Vivo X100 Pro suffered mostly from, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra could handle this a little bit better. In terms of detail level, this fine details that we saw with the reflective coating is a little bit more seen and visible on the Find X7 Ultra, where it's like completely smudged out now on the X100 Pro. And the text down below here is also way better processed on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. But this zoom results are not the only thing, like text zooms, but sometimes you want to zoom in on other details and such things. And here we can see the approach, the different approaches at 10 times again. The X100 Pro winning this clearly with processing, where the Oppo Find X7 keeps it more real, doesn't do so much processing, but has a lot of noise going on. Both are pretty sharp, but at 10 times I would say the best or the better one is definitely the X100 Pro. And this is like also seen in this approach here, where we have like again 20 times zoom. We can see that the detail levels on the X100 Pro are a bit better there. Though I think the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is like catching up at 20 times zoom and matching the Vivo X100 Pro's approach there with all the other details that we can see here on this picture. Selfies are also quite interesting because both claim to have a 32 megapixel selfie camera, and it's true, we have almost the same kind of specs, someone would suggest, but no, it is a different kind of sensor that they're using there, different kind of approach as well, because we have 21 millimeters on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, where we have 20 millimeters, so a bit of wider field of view on the X100 Pro. We have, however, 2.8 as aperture of the X100 Pro, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra claims to have 4.5. I think it is 4.5 because it's now in portrait mode, and I think it also has f2.8 here. But we have a lower ISO definitely on the X100 Pro, where the Find X7 Ultra has a higher ISO. What we will see here on first glance is that we have a bit of brighter, more yellowish maybe kind of face on the X7 Ultra, where it's a bit of more dullish, darker on the X100 Pro. I think the skin color on the X100 Pro is a bit better there. And you can see also here the yellow stitching is a little bit more punchy, so they add a little bit more punch to the colors on the Find X7 Pro. When we zoom in, however, what we will see is a clear win here for the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. It is just tremendous there with the detail level in terms of my eyes, for example. You can even see like all the details of my eyes. It looks or appears like slightly out of focus on the X100 Pro. That might be also due to the fact that the Oppo Find X7 Ultra has an autofocus motor built in, so we have the possibility to autofocus and always have pinpoint sharp picture, where the X100 Pro has to guess a little bit and has its fixed focus that has to kick in here. In terms of stitching and in terms of cutouts, I think both doing a fine job there. I think the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is a tiny bit better also with this little hair strange that the Vivo X100 Pro has some difficulties with. Another zoom shot here where we can clearly see again the different approaches. We have the 4.3 times zoom on the Vivo, where we have 4.3 times zoom cropped in from the 3 times, where you can clearly see the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is not doing as much of post-processing as the X100 Pro is in doing optimizing zooms. So a clear win here for the X100 Pro. When we zoom in 10 times, you can clearly say the same thing, and I like the X100 Pro there a little bit better. And 20 times zoom, it's also quite nice. You can see both are doing fine there. I would say at 20 times zoom, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra has the better zoom. And here another zoom shot. Even airplanes you can kind of shoot as well. UPS is like transporting probably some new smartphones to Europe. And this is then the maximum zoom, 120 times on the Find X7 Ultra, which is fantastic looking, I have to say, for 120 times, and 100 times for the X100 Pro. I could almost make out what's written in this W here, where it's like, yeah, very pixel kind of festival on the X100 Pro. You can see the X100 Pro's 100 times zoom is struggling quite a bit, where the 120 times zoom on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra looks a bit better. And here 100 versus 120 times zoom, yeah, it's an abstract art when you go in to the details, but I think still, yes, the optical zoom 6 times that's cropping into this 120 times zoom on the Find X7 Ultra is clearly a bit better. Let's go and talk about portraits. Portraits, it's always like a very interesting point, because here algorithms and the optimizations plus optics are very, very important. And here, last year's Oppo Find X6 Pro had already very, very good marks here, and I took it for my personal family photos for Christmas because I really liked its almost DSLM, DSLR-like quality. And I'm not disappointed by the portraits here, because the portraits at 2 times zoom look way better on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, way more natural than on the Vivo X100 Pro. The Vivo X100 Pro's 2 times crop in normal day situations is superior to the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, but when it comes to the portrait shots, it's just simply outstanding what the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is providing here. Excellent colors of my face, excellent colors of my eyes, excellent sharpness, excellent details of my eyes. I'm just claiming it right now. This is the best portrait shot that I saw on a smartphone ever. The Vivo X100 Pro is not bad, but it's in comparison just falling flat on his face. And 3 times versus 85 millimeters, which is the next step on both cameras in the portrait mode, is showing this even more. It's tremendous how good and how perfectly balanced the 2 times crop on the main sensor and the 3x shot with a dedicated telesensor are optimized, and how much they look like very alike in terms of colors. Excellent colors, excellent sharpness, excellent details. The Vivo X100 Pro for 85 millimeter, which is a crop, and I think they do some algorithms from its 4.3 times zoom to optimize this as well, is falling flat on his face again in comparisons. It's not very bad on the X100 Pro, but look at this difference in terms of details here, in terms of what is like visible in my eye, the details there, the color of the skin a little bit better, more lively on the Find X7 Ultra. My beard hair not so exaggerated as and less sharp here on the X100 Pro. So yes, definitely the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is king of portraits. But with one exception, when we go to 100 millimeters on the Vivo X100 Pro and we go to the 6 times zoom, which is I think 135 millimeters on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, you will see a difference. First of all, the color of my face changed on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. It's not as good as it was before. Here I prefer the Vivo X100 Pro's approach a lot better. And when we zoom in, you will see it struggles hard, and here I would give it a draw with the Vivo X100 Pro. I think the eye color is wrong on the X7 Ultra. It's getting a little bit too contrasty and dark there, where the Vivo X100 Pro keeps it a bit more real, at least with the eye color. In terms of sharpness and detail, I think the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is doing a splendid job in the earlier zoom levels, but here it's just not as good as the rest, but it's still very, very good in comparison to also the X100 Pro. But I would give a slight edge to the X100 Pro when it comes to zoom ranges from 4.3 point times on in terms of portrait shots. Forget about portrait shots with the Oppo Find X7 Ultra and its 6 times zoom. Use the 3 times zoom, crop in. It's way, way better. Trust me, you will thank me later. So in general, both are very, very good camera phones, and yeah, you have to choose your poison here. So nighttime video with the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. What do you think about this? I'm walking towards the light right now using the internal mics, 4K 30 recording. There's no night video recording mode, but I think it can switch to 24 FPS if the light gets a bit dimmer. But we have a 1-inch type sensor, a new Litia 900 sensor here from Sony that should capture even more light here. So you, don't have to go to 24 frames per second. Standing under the light, how does it handle all these lighting effects? Now I'm walking away from the light with the light in the background. How does it handle this one here? and yeah, walking towards the dark. How good is stabilization, microphones, car passing by, and now I'm turning towards the light with the dark background. So what do you think about the Lithia 900 here on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra? Recording now with the Vivo X100 Pro. This has in video mode a special night video capability, and I think it's recording in 4K 30 frames, 24 frames per second instead of 4K 30, what is set in the camera app. I'm walking towards the light right now. This one here has an IMX 989, so predecessor basically of the Lithia 900 that we saw on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. I'm standing under the light right now. What do you think about this one? Walking now away from the light with the light in the background. How does it handle this one here? Also, how good are the internal mics here on the Vivo X100 Pro? And now I'm turning towards the light with the dark background. So what do you think about the Vivo X100 Pro and the Sony IMX 989? Night photography distinguishes bad sensors from good sensors, and Oppo Find X7 Ultra and the Vivo X100 Pro have very good sensors. The main sensors are able to shoot even the sky, as you see here, with a special astrophotography kind of mode. The Vivo X100 Pro has more features there, and you will see that it has a little bit of a better quality here thanks to its computational features that it adds there. Nevertheless, when I zoom in, you will see that we have a bit of noise going on there and a bit of like a haloing effect of the night mode that kicked in here. We don't have this so much. The stars are at one point here on the Vivo X100 Pro, and I think for astrophotography, I think the X100 Pro has the upper hand when it comes to its algorithms. It's also like is able to also show you the various different stars and their alignments and how they're called. And this is also pretty cool. It's enhancing the stars a little bit, as you can see here, by artificially adding stuff in there so that yeah, becomes more visible. Main camera sensor differences. What we will see here is mainly colors. You will see that there's a bluish kind of hue in the sky that we don't see so much on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. So the sky is more dark, like it really was there. We have a bit of a difference also in terms of brightness. So you will see when I zoom in that we have also here a little bit of brighter spots because the sky is a bit brighter as well. So we see a little bit more of the tree that we don't see on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. When it comes to detail levels, however, they are very, very similar. Oppo Find X7 Ultra does less post-processing, which looks a bit more natural, where the Vivo X100 Pro has a bit more post-processing, like sharpness applied and trying to get things a little bit more beautified. You can see the sharpness difference here in the signs, and also on the street as well, where we have a little bit more details on the X100 Pro because it's adding a little bit of this sharpening all over the frame. Nevertheless, I think both are doing a very fine job here, and I could not give one more points than the other for these kinds of shots. The native zoom 3 times versus 4.3 times, you will see that the 3 times, even though it has a larger sensor, is a bit darker here because it's exposing more for this advertisement board, where here the Vivo X100 Pro has a bit of more glooming going on and has the rest also nicely exposed, which is I think also pretty fine. So this is the 4.3 time. You can see it's slightly overexposed, I would say. The Oppo Find X7 Ultra is suffering from a little bit of lack of colors, I would say. We have more vibrant colors on the X100 Pro. So the sky color, for example, is definitely blue, where here it's a bit of a greenish tint that it shouldn't have. Otherwise, you will see a lot more noise creeping in on the X7 Ultra because it's not doing so much post-processing as the Vivo X100 Pro is doing, which is smoothing things out a little bit more and sharpening things up. When we go further, we have another zoom level on both, which is like on the Vivo X100 Pro, it's a 10 times hybrid zoom. On the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, it's actually, yeah, besides the 6 ones, the more closest you can get if you press the 6 one another time is 13 times, which is also hybrid zoom. You'll see that the colors are correcting themselves on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, so the sky is bluish here. It's not as vibrant as the X100 Pro for sure, And in terms of detail levels, I think they're almost on par. But when I go into 100% view, you will see again a little bit more post-processing on the Vivo X100 Pro, like smoothing everything up there, but also losing a little bit of detail. Look at this little logo here of the city of Cologne. You will see that there is a little bit of smudging going on, and you don't have this so much on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Of course, it's a bit closer, closed up there as well. And the optimization for text is clearly visible on the X100 Pro, where it's not so visible, maybe not so strongly applied on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Zoom levels are quite interesting because I think there's sometimes something wrong with the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. It's not always utilizing its 6x periscope zoom when it's dark. So what I had to do for this shot here is going into the master mode, which is some kind of pro mode. It was called, I think, on the Find X6 Ultra, Find X6 Pro actually. And this master mode then definitely uses the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, but has like completely almost turned off post-processing. So we have like very, very much a clean image from the sensor on the X7 Ultra, the closest you can get to a raw image, actually without being raw. So you can see the overexposure there, for example, HDR very weak there. But also it's not so much post-processing going on here when it comes to the texts. Looks much clearer on the X100 Pro, but also thinner, the text, as you can see here, than it is in reality, because it's like applying some heavy filter to optimize the text, and this is changing the text a little bit there. The rest also looks like a little bit more post-processed, where here it's a bit more natural. But what we can also do, of course, on the Find X7 Ultra is go to the 13 times normal zoom there. And in normal mode, we have the post-processing applied. You can see much more smoother, not so much noisy. And I think also much more realistic looking when we take a look at the text. Yeah, it appears to be sharp on the X100 Pro, but it's not realistic because the text is the font size of the text is a bit thicker and not as thin as it appears on the X100 Pro. Nevertheless, the LEDs, this is quite interesting that it is able to capture all the little LEDs that are like shining there, which the Find X7 Ultra is not able to do there. Otherwise, you can read both without any issues. And I think, yeah, maybe here, especially with the red one, the Find X7 Ultra is doing quite a little bit of a better job. But what about 10 times zoom? And this is quite interesting. Also, 10 times zoom struggles a lot. So this is quite interesting. This is something that I think Oppo has to optimize there. 13 times zoom looks a lot better than the 10 times zoom on the Find X7 Ultra. You will see it in a minute. Here you can see it. Much more noise creeping in around the texts, for example. We have this, yeah, it also tries to show the individual LEDs there, which on the 13 time is not doing so much, but so much noise going on there. And yeah, if you compare it to the 13 time is much better here. And sometimes led me to believe that it's not even using the 6 times zoom, but I just was, checking it, and it's really using the 6 times zoom. So there is something still that Oppo has to optimize here. Otherwise, Vivo is winning. But when it comes to like the look at this here, it's like a modern art contest for both here. I like the Oppo a little bit better because it's a bit darker there. Here feels a bit like overexposed there on the X100 Pro. And the color is wrong because, yeah, this light here is more this greenish light, but inside they have a more whitish yellowish light that is more going towards the X7 Ultra. And when we go back to the original picture that I took here, which is like slightly overexposed and so on, this one here has, I think, also some issues with this light, but shows the light, the real color of the light a bit better than the other ones. Those are a bit darker there. Ultra wide angle in this shot, clearly the Vivo X100 Pro is doing a better job with the lights there. The light colors are better, and I think also the sharpening applied again on the X100 Pro a bit stronger than on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. HDR better on the X100 Pro. This is what I can see here towards the edges. I think both getting a bit soft, but a bit sharper on the X100 Pro. as to sharpening applied. So I had to do another shot to be absolutely sure. And yes, the X100 Pro has more aggressive post-processing and sharpening going on. And here you'll see the big difference here in this kind of shot. Look at the lights here and how much like noise there is. It's like trying to calculate out and still sharpening up the picture on the X100 Pro, which looks a little bit unnatural, where the Find X7 Ultra is a bit softer, yes, because it's not adding so much sharpness and keeps it a bit softer, but also doesn't have so much noise that it has to calculate out there. You see it here on the car lights, maybe that there's a little bit of stuff going on. HDR is still better on the X100 Pro, but overall, the more natural shot, even though it's a bit softer as the Find X7 Ultra, I would say, but if I have to give some points, I think most people are more happy with the X100 Pro there. So I think the X100 Pro's ultra wide angle might be slightly better there overall. Selfies are quite interesting because here at night mode, the Vivo X100 Pro is doing some crazy stuff to my face. I look like I have a mask on. It's not my real face actually, because it's like basically redrawing my face as realistic as it can, which is like interesting, surprising that it can do such thing, but it's looking so smooth, everything here, which is definitely not the case. And the Find X7 Ultra is much better in this regard. The sensor that's using is much better there, and look at the eye. It's just like in daylight also. It has more details there. It is more realistic for sure, and it's definitely a win for the Find X7 Ultra. So overall, I would say it's very neck to neck, and it's very hard to have like a winner. I think the Oppo has to optimize its zoom lens, especially the 6 times zoom lens, and 10 times zoom. The Vivo X100 Pro is better at 13 times zooms. The Find X7 Ultra's hybrid zoom is more optimized for this and beats definitely the X100 Pro in this regard. Ultra wide angle, I think the slight edge I would go here for the Vivo X100 Pro. Oppo has to do something still to beat it. Let's come to my conclusion and ranking. TLDR, what you see here, the Vivo X100 Pro got 4.474999999 points, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is the new king with 4.495 points. That will be on the top of my ranking list. Where is the big difference? The main camera photo quality is not the big difference, even though we have a newer sensor on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, and it should in theory also provide us better low light pictures and better HDR. In reality, I don't see it so much in this comparison. Vivo is doing a tremendous tuning of the IMX989, even though it's an older sensor with its very good dedicated chip. It's like keeping up with the Oppo Find X7 Ultra there. I see a bit of a difference in the ultra wide camera photo quality, where the Vivo X100 Pro in the end is a slightly bit better, but it's not because the sensor is better on the X100 Pro. Actually, it's the opposite. I think the sensor on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is better, but its tuning is lacking a little bit in comparison to the Vivo X100 Pro that had, of course, a little bit of a few months in advantage, because it like could already update their software to make the ultra wide angle a little bit better there. The Oppo still has to do it. I think at night you will see definitely that the Vivo X100 Pro gets things a little bit sharper here and there. It's a neck-to-neck race, but in the end I would give it the point to the X100 Pro that gives more pleasing ultra-wide angles, sometimes with a bit more details and sharpness there. Oppo Find X7 Ultra, very close second there. When it comes to zoom camera photo quality, however, I would give it to the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. It's neck-to-neck again with the Vivo X100 Pro, and the Vivo X100 Pro almost like beats the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, but no, in the end, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is better. 10 times zoom, like I said, is optimized more for the Vivo X100 Pro because of the hybrid zoom. The Oppo Find X7 Ultra, however, as we saw in nighttime, is optimized for 13 times zoom, which is quite interesting. It gives you more reach on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, not only in photo but also in video mode. But in photo mode you will see it, the reach at one point like 20 times zoom or something like this is definitely a win against the Vivo X100 Pro. Otherwise the Vivo X100 Pro can keep up definitely with the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, but where it cannot compete at all is portrait shots, because portrait shots is just fantastic on the Find X7 Ultra as long as you're using the 3 times zoom lens, or even below like 2 times zoom, for example, which is a crop on the main sensor as far as I'm aware. So this would help tremendously, and this is why the zoom camera photo quality on the Find X7 Ultra is better, because portraits are a hell lot better than on the Vivo X100 Pro. And this is one point, and the other point is we have better zoom range there and a lot more sharpness in the higher zoom ranges there on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. And plus we have very possibility at 6 times to get very close to objects like macro photography, and through 3 times, which offers us much more flexibility than with the Vivo X100 Pro, where we only have this 4.3 times zoom that we can utilize. Therefore, video recording quality very neck to neck as well. Vivo X100 Pro is very good at this. Especially I like this feature of the Vivo X100 Pro to have the possibility to switch between the front camera and the back camera. That is not possible on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, but both are neck to neck, 4K 60 frames per second. Both can utilize all their sensors, main sensors in the back, to switch lenses. Switching is a bit smoother on the X100 Pro, but the Find X7 Ultra with its latest update is also not so far behind, and the Find X7 Ultra I think has the better ultra wide angle, especially useful for vlogging, and a bit wider as well. I think also the main camera has more pleasant colors, which is very important for video. Yes, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is losing a little bit with its front-facing video for vlogging or something like this. It's getting a bit noisy there. I think Oppo can also optimize it a little bit, and then also a little bit shaky here and there. I think the shakiness is something that has something to do with the autofocus motor in there moving a little bit, so it's very hard to stabilize this correctly. But nevertheless, I would say this is something they have to optimize, maybe the front-facing camera video a little bit there. But we have autofocus on the front-facing video, and this is something that the Vivo cannot compete with at all. So in the end, it is a slight win in terms of video for the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, but it's a clear win for the Oppo Find X7 Ultra because the main camera sensor gives us a more pleasant colors, and the ultra-wide angle is much better there. And yeah, we can, I think, neglect then the small issues that the front-facing camera has there a little bit. Talking about autofocus performance in video, but also in normal photo shooting, is basically the same. I didn't notice any issues with both of them. So it's 4.5 stars. That's not as good as the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V's autofocus, for example, which is like spot on every time. Even if I have like reflecting objects or something like this, is spot on. Where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra and the Vivo X100 Pro, sometimes when it comes to those reflections or like against sunlight, it's running into some issues. This is why it's only getting 4.5 stars there. But like I said, basically besides the Sony Xperia, there's almost no other that can compete there in terms of autofocus performance. Front camera performance for photos especially is a lot better on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. It is because of the, first of all, the autofocus. So we have things very, very sharp and in focus. You see it in daylight especially. You see it in nighttime. It's a tremendous difference there. The front-facing camera is really, really a lot better on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra in comparison to the X100 Pro. And this shows clearly. It's among, I think, the best. If they optimize it a little bit more in terms of like more noise control here and there on the front facing camera, then I would give it even 4.5, maybe even 4.6 points, if they also can make the video shakiness work out a little bit there as well. So front camera performance there is a clear win for the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. When it comes to camera UI, however, it's a clear win for the Vivo X100 Pro. It's basically the opposite there. The camera UI did not change much from the Oppo Find X6 Pro, and I was also criticizing there that we have certain things not there, like for example a Pro video mode. Yes, there's a movie mode, but the movie mode is also a little bit like you cannot like set up, I want to record now in 24 frames per second, I want to record in 30 or 60 frames per second or something like this. It's not possible there. You have some menu control there, but it's not a full-fledged pro mode that you see for example, on the Vivo X100 Pro. So this is like a little bit of an issue. The other thing is like quick toggles and quick settings are a lot more accessible on the X100 Pro. It seems like one-handed usage is more optimized on the X100 Pro. It's more it is like easy to use, but you can also easy be being more professional on the X100 Pro, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, it's easy enough to use, but it's a little bit harder to get like in this professional kind of level there. And the same goes then for the extra features. It's basically a bit stripped down on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. It's more like towards just shoot automatic and we are doing our stuff. I'm raising the point there because we have this new master mode, which is like a huge upgrade in terms of photography for everyone who like Hasselblad colors, because we have like basically this is the Hasselblad mode, I would say, the possibility to shoot automatically, point and shoot, but in this master Hasselblad mode. Or we have the Pro mode that has like all the options that we like to have or that we had also in the Find X6 Pro. But the Hasselblad mode, or the master mode there, also in automatic mode, has the possibilities to tweak it to your liking. I think Xiaomi was the first introducing such thing, and now it's also there on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. It's a welcome addition, so we can tune our style with easy sliders. And this is, I think, a very, very nice feature and addition there on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra as well. So yes, this is my conclusion there. And let's check out how it will look like on the ranking list. And yes, the ranking list is updated now. As you see, much more user-friendly. I put like 5 minutes of effort in there to make it easier on the eye to read all the rankings, but also the possibility to search for specific phones. So if you're only searching for how does the Oppo Find X7 Ultra cope with the Find X6, so we can just search for Find X, and then we have only those here in the ranking, and you will see that it's a huge upgrade from the Find X6 Pro to the Find X7 Ultra, especially when it comes to the zoom camera photo quality. However, where it's like a downgrade for most people is the ultra wide angle, as you can see here, from 4.4 to 4.1 points. And zoom camera, you can see 4.2 to 4.6, and video recording quality jumped also from 4.5 to 4.6. The rest is basically the same, besides the front-facing camera, because here we also have like autofocus, very good camera sensor there on the Find X7 Ultra, also very nice. And extra features also jumped up 1 point. So this is how you can compare them if you want to. I can go back here and you see Oppo Find X7 Ultra versus Vivo X100 Pro. Basically the same. How does it look like with the Huawei Mate 60 Pro? You can see main camera photo quality is 4.6 here. The ultra wide angle is a bit better on the Huawei, but zoom is a lot worse, and video recording quality is a tiny bit worse there. And autofocus performance is basically the same. Front camera is a bit better even on the Huawei, I would say, even though it doesn't have autofocus there, but it's a bit better there, especially for photos. And camera UI is a tiny bit better, more user-friendly when it comes to one-handed usage there. And extra features are also more there, like recording. We have the possibility to record on nano memory card and the Pro video mode and such things. So a lot of more features on the Huawei Mate 60 Pro there. This new ranking system here, of course, if you're only interested, for example, who has the best front-facing camera, you can just click on front cam. It will show you the worst one, which is Xperia Pro I first. If you click again on front cam, it will do the reversed order, which means which has the best front cams. And here you can see the Mate 60 Pro, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the P60 Pro, the P50 Pro, Mate 50 Pro, and the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra are on top, shortly followed by the Oppo Find X7 Ultra already, and then the Magic 5 Pro, Find and Free Flip actually, P50 Pocket, and the Xperia 1 Mark V and Magic 4 Ultimate and so on. So you have the possibility to have a different kind of sorting. Like if you're only interested in main camera photo quality, so which one has the best main camera photo quality, you can see Oppo Find X7 Ultra Same points as Xiaomi 14 Pro, Vivo X100 Pro, Oppo Find X6 Pro, the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, and then the second place basically Magic 5 Pro, X90 Pro Plus, Xiaomi 13 Pro, Nubia Z50s Pro, and Z60 Ultra, and Mate 60 Pro. Third place, and so on. So you have the possibility to check this out, and if you want to go back to the total ranking, just click on total ranking and you see the loser basically my ranking, and if you click again you see the top ranking here, which is the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. We have a new king in terms of smartphone photography, with a slight win against the Vivo X100 Pro, but like I said, you have to really check it out. And I think the major win here, when you check neck by neck comparison, they're very, when it comes to main, ultra wide and zoom camera photo quality, they're very neck to neck. Same goes for video recording and autofocus performance. I think the one that is like beating definitely and making the Oppo Find X7 Ultra the winner here is the front-facing camera, because here we have a tremendous like jump forward. The rest is basically almost the same, so don't be sad if your Vivo X100 Pro is not on the top anymore. It is, as you can see here, for main camera photo quality the same, and for ultra wide even a bit better than the X7 Ultra. So that's everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have some questions, ask them down in the comment section. If you want to tell me that I'm completely wrong, write it there as well. And that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.